In almost every classroom, there is one student who is always there, but somehow no one really sees him. Not the teachers, not the students, no one. His name was Ravi. He always sat on the last bench. Not because he wanted to, but because that's where he belonged. While other students laughed, shared jokes, and answered questions confidently, Ravi just sat there, quietly, watching everything, but being part of nothing. Days passed like this, and slowly, Ravi stopped trying. Because when no one notices you, you start feeling like you don't matter. One day, during a math test, Ravi sat with his paper in front of him. He looked at the questions again and again, but nothing made sense. The numbers felt confusing, like a language he never learned. Time kept moving, but his pen didn't. Finally, the bell rang, and Ravi submitted an almost empty paper. The next day, the teacher walked in holding answer sheets. One by one, names were called. Then, Ravi. He slowly stood up. The teacher looked at his paper and said loudly, 3 out of 50. A few students laughed, then more joined. And then the teacher said something Ravi would never forget. Some people are just not made for studies. The whole class laughed. But Ravi didn't. He just stood there, silent. Because sometimes, words hurt more than failure. That evening, Ravi didn't go home. He walked slowly and sat near a small tea shop. He kept thinking, not made for studies, again and again in his mind. Your tea will get cold. Ravi looked up. An old man stood in front of him, smiling gently. He placed a cup of tea beside Ravi. You look tired, he said. Ravi looked down and whispered, maybe I'm just not good enough. The old man sat beside him and said, do you know how I learned to make tea? Ravi shook his head. I failed 27 times. Ravi looked surprised. 27. The old man smiled. First time too much sugar, second time too much water, third time completely burnt, but I didn't stop. Today people say I make the best tea here. Then he looked at Ravi and said slowly, slow doesn't mean useless, and failing doesn't mean finished. For the first time that day, Ravi felt something new, hope. From the next day, nothing outside changed. Same classroom, same last bench, same people. But something inside Ravi was different. This time he didn't try to become the best. He just tried to understand one small thing every day. One question, then two. Some days he failed again. Some days he didn't understand anything, but he didn't stop. Months later, during a class, the teacher asked a difficult question. The room went silent. No one answered. Ravi looked at the board. His heart started beating fast. He knew the answer, but fear held him back. What if I'm wrong? What if they laugh again? For a moment he almost gave up. But then he remembered. Slow doesn't mean useless. Slowly, his hand went up. The class turned around. The teacher looked surprised. Ravi. He stood up, his voice shaking, but he answered, correctly. Complete silence. Then the teacher said, good, Ravi. That one word changed everything. Because for the first time, someone saw him. Years later, Ravi became a teacher. One day, he noticed a boy sitting on the last bench. Quite, just like him. Ravi smiled and walked closer. Because he knew, sometimes all it takes is one person to believe in you. And as he looked at that boy, he remembered his own journey. From the last bench to the front of the classroom. And he smiled. Because sometimes, the last bench is where the strongest stories begin.